Hello everyone and welcome back to the Pullback Edge. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. The analysis is based on publicly available market data and reflects general market observations. I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice or a buy or sell recommendation. Please do your own research before making any investment decision. Now let's get into this week's ASX analysis for the week ending 23rd January 2026. We'll take a quick look at how the Australian market has performed across the key indices. As always, the objective here isn't prediction but perspective, understanding relative strength, weakness, and emerging trends. We are using the ASX 200, which is the XJO, as our benchmark and comparing all major indices against it. Our analysis begins on the 1st December 2025, and this start date remains fixed so we can track the performance consistently week after week. We are covering all major sectors across the ASX, so let's lift the curtain and see what stands out. We'll start with the weekly performance of the individual indices. As we can see, this is the week ending 23rd Jan 2026. At the top, we have the materials, gold, and resources continue to lead the market, with gold at the top, outperforming the benchmark by 20.89 since the 1st December 2025. So no change to the top three outperformers over this period. Once again, this reflects also the ongoing strength in commodities. The small ordinaries, or the XSO, has also outperformed the ASX 200 by around 7% since the 1st of December. At the lower end of the table, healthcare continues to outperform technology and is showing a steady build-up in the momentum, and we'll have a closer look at the XHJ index later in this video. Now, next what we do is we look at the multi-time frame relative performance of all the indices with a particular focus on the last 5 trading days. The top three performers remain unchanged from the previous week, and just quickly I'll just show this is what we had as of the week ending 16th of January 2026. So we can see that the top three indices they remain the same. So on a week by week basis, they remain the same. Now, interesting, what we see here is that the healthcare has outperformed the benchmark by almost 1% over the last week. So in the last 1 week, the benchmark gave a return of minus 0.5 compared to the healthcare a 0.4. So this has outperformed almost by 1% over the last 1 week. And the technology index also, the green mark, what indicates is that it has performed better from where it was last week. So if we quickly just see the last week, in fact, the technology index was at the bottom of the table. Now what we see is the technology index also has improved, and the A-REIT as well as the banks index as well as the financial index, they have really been shift down, move to the bottom, likely reflecting the market uncertainty around the interest rate expectations. So now let's move to the charts and see what the price action is telling us. So friends, we are now looking at the charts. Now the platform that I'm using is the Trading View. On the screen, you will see the XJO benchmark in the top left here. Alongside the 5 other key indices, I'm using the small ordinaries, which is the XSO, the banks, resources, healthcare, and the technology. And the time frame that I'm using is the daily time frame. The primary indicator used here is the Ichimoku clouds, and the lower panel which you see here, it shows the relative strength benchmark against the XGO. That's why the relative strength appears flat as a red line on the XJO over the last 55 days. Yes, I'm using 55 days, not the standard 14, to capture more meaningful trends. Let me show you how this works. So if I go into the relative strength, so this is the relative strength, is the indicator that is available on TradingView, and in the comparative symbol I am using XJO as the benchmark, which is the common same for all the charts here for all indices, and the period that I'm using is the 55 period. So on the relative strength chart, we can see that technology appears to be forming a base. So this is the technology which we are seeing. So on the relative strength, we can see that this is kind of a bottoming out, and it is suggesting a possible consolidation phase here. However, healthcare, however, is edging towards the zero line. So a sustained move above zero would indicate that it has begun to outperform the benchmark, and that is when the red will also turn into green. So that's why we are seeing in the resources, we are seeing this is all in green, much above the zero line, and we can see that this green had it was around the first week of August that that the resources sector had started to outperform the benchmark, and since then it has been outperforming the benchmark. And we can see the ordinary is also XSO, it is outperforming the benchmark, which we also saw in the earlier charts as well. Now let's take a closer look at healthcare. So let me expand the healthcare chart here. What we are looking at is we are using the Ichimoku cloud indicator. So using the Ichimoku, the cloud remains red. So you can see the cloud is red, and the price, the Tenkan Sen, which is the blue line, which is the short-term average, and the Kijun Sen, which is the medium-term average, which is this red line just above it, they are all below the cloud. Now this tells us that the broader trend is still bearish. However, we are seeing an important divergence in the uh, in the in the momentum. Now while price is making a lower low here, so price is making a lower low, uh, sorry here, so price is making a lower low and a lower low. We can see that the relative strength chart, it bottomed out around October here, and since then, although the price has been making down or lower lows, the relative strength has been making some higher lows out here, which shows that the divergence is there, and there's a possibility of this making a breakout above the zero line. So we can see here it's a very if you have to visualize this, we can see that this is a like a cup and handle on the relative charts as well that it is forming, and as soon as this crosses this zero line and is above the zero line, the color will change to green, and that will be a clear signal that the healthcare has started outperforming the benchmark index. Now if I keep it simple, we just keep it simple, very simple, using a trend line as well. So if I am using a trend line starting from the bottom here and a clear resistance where we can draw a line here, we can see here that the price, if this was a resistance line from the top, the price has moved above this trend line and is now inching towards this cloud here. Now it's going to face resistance as it approaches the cloud. However, we'll have to just monitor it as it comes closer. On the lines and all, we can see that whatever was the bottom seemed to have been formed, and healthcare is the sector which definitely I'm going to keep it on monitoring for myself, and will continue to monitor this over the coming weeks as the data unfolds. So with this, friends, we wrap up this week's ASX analysis. I hope this added value to your own market work. If it did, then please like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.